This is the first of two videos for this objective. We are going to highlight chiral centers in sugars, drugs, and larger organic molecules. So in this one, we're going to look at sugars. I've drawn a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 carbon sugar here on the left. Now, you can learn about things that make them sugars, all of the alcohol groups, having an aldehyde or a ketone, but you can see from this, with all of the dashed lines and all of the wedges, that there's potential for a lot of chiral centers in this molecule, and that's a lot of drawing to do to show the stereochemistry. So chemists do some simpler projections. For example, we can write the aldehyde group up at the top, and then every carbon in the middle just has a line that goes through it, and we write the alcohol group at the bottom and connect those. So here's our first carbon, and then 3 carbons in the middle, and then the 5th carbon at the bottom. And we draw the hydrogen and hydroxyl groups coming off of the main chain of carbon atoms off to the side. So this is called a Fischer projection. But what you can see is that every one of these carbons in the middle, these middle 3 carbons, all have the potential to have 4 different things attached. So each of those could be a chiral center. This one up here, C double bonded to O, it's only got 3 things attached. Can't be a chiral center. But let's look here. Here we've got an oxygen right here as our first group, then a whole big piece of molecule here, call that our second, and the aldehyde up at the top, our third, and the hydrogen, our fourth, and those are all different. So this is a chiral center. We go to the next one. We don't need to number them properly. I'll do my best. That would be the first group. Going up here would be the second group. Going down would be the third, and the hydrogen would be the fourth, and they're all different. So once again, that's a chiral center. We go to this last one, and right off we can see it's got 2 hydrogen. So 2 of the groups are the same, so it is not a chiral center. So this molecule would have, this sugar would have 2 chiral centers. Sugars are complicated. They don't always form a structure in a line. Sometimes the aldehyde reacts with one of the hydroxyl groups, and you get a ring. I've got 2 ways that rings are sometimes drawn for 2 different sugars. So these are all different molecules. We can go into each one and we can still identify, does this carbon here have 4 different groups attached? Well, it's got oxygen in 2 different places, but one is a hydroxyl group, an OH group, and the other is an OC. So those 2 are different. Going down here, we've got this whole molecule going off different direction, and then we've got an implicit hydrogen. So this has 4 different things. I'm going to circle it. Here we've got The molecule going off to the right, the molecule going off to the left, they're very different. Two different groups. The hydroxyl group is a third, and an implicit hydrogen coming off. So this is also a chiral center. Move on to the third one. Ring going to the right, ring going to the left, hydroxyl group and hydrogen. Chiral center. See, it's getting pretty easy to identify chiral centers on sugars. Here, ring going down, ring going up, they're different, not symmetrical ring. Hydroxyl group, implicit hydrogen. We've got another chiral center. Move on to this carbon. It's got the ring going to the right, the ring going to the left, a carbon going up, and an implicit hydrogen. 4 different things. So when the 3 things we can see are all different, and we've got an implicit hydrogen, we know it's going to be different. Then up here, it's drawn differently, but you'll notice it has 2 H's. So this is not chiral, so there was no need to draw it out in a way that shows the shape. We should be able to figure out the shape. Going to the bottom one. Got the same thing. You can pause the video and quickly circle the things that are clearly chiral centers. I'm going to do that now. Got 3 chiral centers. 2 of them are not. This one here has 2 implicit hydrogens. This one here, I drew a hydrogen in, but there's another hydrogen that is implied. The reason a hydrogen is drawn is because this is unusual to not have a hydroxyl group on one of these central carbons in a sugar. And you'll find this kind of thing with a missing hydroxyl group when you look at DNA. The D stands for deoxy, meaning it's missing an oxygen. So you'll see something like this in a later chapter.